Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Learning Coach Academy session for today, Monday, February 6th. So glad that you are here. I am Rebecca McAlpine, Director of Engagement. We have Melissa Ramon, one of our supervising teachers, here with us today to talk us through scholar anxiety and tips as learning coaches as we navigate scholar anxiety. So we're super excited to have Melissa here with us. Of course, we'll do our first set of introductory slides here, and then I will hand the microphone off. Of course, mission and vision, values. We'll talk a little bit about that MMU. Then we'll share out this topic information of scholar anxiety and learning coach support for scholar anxiety, and then a Q&A session to wrap up the end of the presentation. Of course, our mission and vision, as we know, it is central to everything that we do here at Compass. So are our core values of achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication. Alrighty, now a quick stop here on the tour of all things Learning Coach Academy. We're going to talk through our Monday morning update. Super excited to share out here some really great information. Big thank you to everybody who participated in our WASC accreditation visit last week. I see some familiar names in here, so perhaps if you were able to be on that call, thank you, a big thank you for that. The committee was really impressed with how our Compass family represented our school. Also, I want to send out a big thank you to our families and staff for working so hard for achieving 95% participation rate in our beginning of the year and mid-year STAR assessment. So there's some great helpful information there right at the top. Of course, always the events happening this week. We've got online and option news, assessments news. Remember that physical fitness test is coming up depending on the grade level of your scholar. You may be attending one of those this week. There's also a February 21st one. And then if we need makeup registration, of course, there's some information there about that as well. CASP prep sessions are coming up. Super excited about those. They help a lot, and they can make our scholars feel, perhaps in this scenario and situation, timely topic, less anxious. So those are going to be every Friday, and they begin this Friday, February 10th at noon. Attending our live mini WOW Q&A would be great for this Friday, February 10th. Beth Sneed, our assessment data and assessment coordinator, will be there as well if you have questions about assessment. So we're excited to have you there as well. Mini WOW, as a reminder, is a flipped model this year, so we have shared out those flipped model recordings, but we will have that live Q&A session this Friday for anybody who wants to ask some follow-up questions. National School Counseling Week, woohoo! And then there's just some additional continuing through here, lots of additional information, OCLC. We've got our Firebird chat, which is a really great resource there. And then our Wellness for Educators, some spotlights, and then also our grade band information here at the bottom. So big thank you to Reading the MMU every week. A big reminder and shout out to how helpful it is and what a difference it makes. All righty, here we go. Jumping over now, I have the privilege and the honor to hand off the microphone. Melissa, we're so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much, and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you to all the parents, all our LCs that are here with us today. We know this is a really important topic and something that's dear to my heart as an educator. Just so you know, I've been a teacher now. This is my 26th year. So I am just happy and thrilled to be here with you guys. So first of all, I wanted to ask if you could participate with me and put it in the chat. If you look up here from 1 to 9, how do you feel today? So if you look at our Winnie the Pooh scale for emotions, just to start it off, if you could tell me 1 to 9 on the scale, how are you feeling? Because it is important to check in with how you're doing. So I see some 2s. Oh, somebody's happy. I love that. Ms. Mendoza is feeling good today. I love it. We also have a 4. Okay, like busy. Alina, I see that you're busy. Gladys, let's see, 5. Yeah, I hear you on that after the weekend for sure. Jessica, you're at a 4, also with tons to do. Got it. That's true. Excellent. Thank you so much. I love to see that. And it's really the reason I even did that is just so that we can check in with ourselves because scholar anxiety, you know, we may feel it ourselves as well. So I just wanted to start off with that. Okay. Oh, and a 3. Excellent. Good. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and start. I wanted to start with kind of the nuts and bolts of what we're talking about, and then we'll go to some more personal examples and more practical examples of what you can do to help your scholar at home. Okay. So first of all, what is anxiety? The anxious feelings, as you know, can be powerful. We are going to watch a short video in just a second. While we're doing that and while the video is playing, I want you to share words in the chat that describe how it feels for you when you are helping your scholar through anxiety. You are most definitely not alone if you're feeling that at all. And then I have another video afterwards. It's just going to be a short one that we'll start with a professor actually telling us about what anxiety is and how it might manifest for your child.
A lot of parents come in with the concern about behavior that their children has and the anxiety that their children has, and they're worried, is this abnormal? Is this something that we really need to be worried about? About 1 in 5 children will have some kind of anxiety in their life. A lot of these are separation anxiety from parents, and even more so are anxieties about specific things, so fear of thunder, fear of dogs, and other anxieties like that. So they're very common and generally not something that parents need to really worry about. The key to managing anxiety is to really be able to first identify what's triggering it. And be able to talk to your child about it. What is it that makes them worry? Now, frequently the children can't always identify why specifically they have that concern. And so you can reassure them that it's okay for them to be worried, but they still need to find a way to deal with whatever is worrying them. So for example, if they're worried about school, they still need to go to school, but you need to work with school and the teachers and the counselors there and your child to come up with a plan to help them feel comfortable. Frequently, in children and adults, anxiety shows up in the way that your body feels. So it may be that you feel your heart is racing a little faster, or maybe you get a stomach upset, or you feel a little queasy in your stomach. And so that's kind of your brain talking to your body and letting it know that you're feeling anxious. And so that's a good way to recognize that this is an anxiety feeling. And also be able to say, okay, I need to help calm my body down and help calm my brain down. So finding ways to really calm the body, practice slow, deep breathing, practice focusing on more relaxing thoughts can be a way to help not only with the anxiety feeling, but also the way that your body is feeling.
Excellent. So in the chat, now that we've seen that, if you could put in, if you feel comfortable, how you feel with your own scholar or something you've seen, words that describe how it feels for you when you're helping them get through anxiety. So for example, for me, I'll put in the chat that sometimes with my own children, when they have struggled with this, I might have moments where I feel helpless, where I just want to fix it. I want to fix it for them. I want them to feel better. And it does make me feel I have all these wonderful tools, I have all the knowledge to do it, but I just wish I could help them get through it a little bit faster. So does anybody else feel a certain way when you are helping your scholar get through anxiety? Oh, okay. Perfect. Miss Mendoza, I see helpless, frustrated, wondering what's normal when you should be concerned. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly right. I mean, that's how I feel too. And I think as we saw in the video, as she was saying, the doctor and the research shows that if it's one day, and you'll see that in the next upcoming video in just a second. And you know what? We can go ahead and play this whole video instead, because it does explain that if it's an everyday occurrence, that's when you might want to reach out to your pediatrician or the school counselor or your ST and get some support. If it's something where in the week, you just see it happening once or twice, it's okay to have normal anxiety. There's going to be issues that come up. But if it's an every single day thing where it's really interrupting their functioning, that is time. It's definitely time to get a little bit more help. So we'll talk a little bit more about that on the other end of this video. This is a short one, but I wanted it to explain.
Stress is usually
Sorry, a little more about what we were saying. Okay, thank you. Thank you to the parents that shared. We will talk more on the end.
seen as something we need to avoid. This is not true. We need stress, and we need our body's stress hormone cortisol to rise and fall throughout the day. Stress helps us wake up in the morning, helps us focus, learn, and remember new things. It's when people experience too much stress and start having difficulties coping that stress becomes a problem. High levels of stress can disrupt the natural changes in the body's stress response system and start to affect our physical and mental health. Over time, accumulated stress can result in false FFF response activations. When trying to measure our stress tolerance, the bucket analogy can be helpful. Our stress tolerance, or the size of our bucket, is a product of our genes, personality, and life experiences, and its size varies from person to person. The water in this analogy is the combination of all the stress in your life. We use the coping strategies we have available to keep our bucket from overflowing. They are like taps that allow water to drain from the bucket. Stress can include training, work, school, relationships, finances, moving, changing jobs, or the loss of a loved one. Both positive and negative experiences will affect the water level. A big bucket can hold more water or stress before it overflows. With a smaller bucket, less water is required for the water or stress level to become critical. While you can't change the size of your bucket, you can make life adjustments to reduce water coming in. You can also learn new coping strategies and stress management techniques to allow water to drain out. Mind tools, exercise, quality sleep, relaxation, and sharing your feelings with friends are some examples of effective water taps. Staying up late, sleeping in, drugs, inactivity, procrastination, suppressing or ignoring problems are examples of unhelpful coping strategies or false taps. They might give temporary relief, but actually result in water flowing back into your bucket. This video was created by Brave, Building Healthy Minds.
Good. I just wanted to share that part because, as you saw, if it's a stressor or anxiety that you notice is going on more often, that is definitely time to reach out for some help. Okay. Perfect. So here are some actual tips that I wanted to share with you guys. So when your child is in the middle of a very anxious moment, they may feel frightened, agitated, or worried. The important thing to do in the moment is to help them calm down and to feel safe. Here are some things that have actually worked, whether I've seen that in the classroom, I've seen that with, I have 25 scholars, I have my own 2 children, I have an 11-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. So these are things that have actually worked and been used to help kiddos. So 1, breathe slowly and deeply together. Sit with them and offer them calm physical reassurance. So this means even if you just put your hand on their shoulder, or something we do often is called the 20-second hug. So if they're okay with it and you ask them, obviously, if it's okay to approach them, and you wrap your arms around both of their shoulders and just hold on gently for about 20 seconds. It helps to reset everything, the parasympathetic nervous system. So you'll feel calmer, you'll feel more connected, and they will too. And so it works for little ones. And if the older ones, middle school or high school, are okay with it, that is something that you can try. Try using all 5 senses together. One of my best friends is a psychiatrist, and she said that on your hand, you have the 5 senses. You just say, I'm going to notice 5 things I see, 4 things I can smell, 3 things that I hear. So I'm sure you've seen this before, but this strategy does work to help. You could tell your child to notice things around them because you get out of your brain and into your physical body. So you ask them to notice things around the house just to help them calm down and bring their affective filter down. Okay. You reassure them that the anxiety will pass and they will be okay. Doctors say that even in a highly anxious episode, within 7 minutes time, it will pass. So you tell them, although it feels scary, or if you're scared yourself as a parent trying to help them get through it, just remember that it's going to come to an end, even if it doesn't feel that way. You just have to hold on and get them through it and yourself. Okay. Also, ask them to think of a safe and relaxing place or person in their mind. For my daughter, she loves the ocean. So something to help her calm if she's in a really, really stressed out place is just to remind her, let's think of the time we all went to the beach, and remember the time you were swimming and boogie boarding, and get them to connect to a place for them that was something that was peaceful and happy. Also encourage them to do something that helps them feel calmer. So, although we have so much pressure with the standards and the work samples and everything we have to do, anything that helps them feel calmer, whether it's going outside, riding their bike, taking a drink of something they like, or some tea or some water, anything can help them feel calmer. Maybe not the video games. I know video games tend to get the kids distracted and all that good stuff, but definitely something that will be a little more sustainable. Okay. Also, move together. A walk is a really, scientifically tested way of getting out into their physical body. So, 10 times out of 10, even a small 10-minute walk around the neighborhood where you're talking will help your scholar release some of that anxiety. Okay. Now, I was thinking in terms of anxiety, when you were homeschooling and when the kids are there, what does this look like? How do you help reduce their anxiety about doing everything you're doing? You guys are managing as parents, maybe your own work, your housework, other children's needs, right? Your pets, anything that you have going on in your household. And then on top of that, you've chosen to homeschool or to school them at home, which we love. So what do we do? What are some practical tips for maintaining this and reducing the scholar's anxiety? So first, very important to maintain a predictable schedule. So if of course, we have things going on and practice and, maybe a co-op, but as much as possible, knowing that Monday I'm going to start and at, 9 o'clock or 8:30, we're going to have breakfast and we will start our day. I think the predictable schedule really helps. The second bullet point there, have your school supplies in the same place, fully stocked and ready for the day. When I was homeschooling my two kids, that was hard. I will tell you, it was hard for me to always make sure that the pencils were sharpened and markers were ready to go, but I did. I had that little station ready to go. So, they could just always rely on things being there. So I would just have to remember the night before to do that. Yes. Oh, good. And Charlene, I see schedule helps a lot. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Charlene. That's wonderful. Your daughter thrives with the schedule. This, I love to have an example of this after. It's give them a clipboard. So I just went to the Dollar Tree and got clipboards for both of them. And I gave them clipboards with the expectation for the day. It was a checkoff list. So even if they knew that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to start with science, you'll see it on the next slide in just a minute. It gives them, here's Monday. Here are the 5 tasks that we're going to get done today. And I would initial, since I was busy in teaching too, I would work with them and then they would initial, they would bring me their clipboard and I'd initial that they got it done or just check off to make sure that the tasks were getting done. Okay. Give them, and so all you would need for that is a clipboard. I have the little chart that I use. We'll make sure to give you guys that copy so you can take it with you. And that's it. I would just use different colors. And I the night before, the hard part on you is that the night before I would stay up to make sure that I wrote down when they woke up in the morning at the table. They had breakfast going on, but they had their clipboards. It was always there. So even if I was tired, I would make sure that their little clipboard was there and it said, okay, guys, these are the 4 things or 5 things you're going to be doing today. It kept me honest though with the work that I wanted to do. And I also had a record, which was nice, Also give them consistent breaks with a timer. Research shows that even the older kids, we start losing our attention span after like 15, 20 minutes. So, our brain does get tired. So there are things called brain breaks where you can stand up and move around, yoga, whatever you want to do, even just helping you make snacks or, getting them up. So don't be afraid, because some parents think, gosh, I have this wonderful lesson for geometry. I want to get through the 60 minutes of it. Your child might be just a little bit overwhelmed with the information. So don't be afraid to break it up and say, okay, I'm going to introduce the topic. It'll be 15 minutes, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a break and work that in. There's something called UDL, Universal Design for Learning. Practice says that scholars do better when they have some choice. So on the checklist that I'm going to share with you, I used to pick, 4 of the things they would do, but then they would always have some choice. Do you want to do art? Do you want to do science? Would you like to do some Play-Doh? Would you like to play the flute? So give them a little bit of choice, because that does help. Also, a calm down place. If they're having high anxiety and they're angry, sometimes anger comes with anxiety. So don't be afraid if that happens. You give them a place in your house, even if it's the corner of a couch where they can rest and reset. Also, this is highly, highly important with a child that has high anxiety, is to minimize the peripheral noise. So if you have the TV going, the blender, any kind of distractions can amp anxiety. So as much as possible, when you want them to focus, be mindful of what's around you, okay? Oh, perfect. Okay, I see. Alejandrina, you said it's the opposite. I have a planner with everything. Okay, great. Love that. Okay, we could go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is what it looks like, you guys, the daily schedule checkoff list. And I love that, you guys already have planners and things in place. This is just if you would like something to do, Monday through Friday and every single day, get this done. The planner works just as well, which is lovely. So great job with that. Okay, perfect. Now, there's also a Yale University study that I wanted to mention here. It's called the SPACE method, and we're going to give you the link to all this as well. Supportive parenting, I can't speak today. Supportive parenting helps anxious childhood emotions, okay? This treatment focuses on changes that parents can make to their own behavior. So sometimes we think, gosh, if I could just take it away from them, if I want them to be different. Why can't they just be kind of a carefree little kid that's running around? That's what we want for them. But this Yale research shows that if we start with ourselves, and there are 2 main changes that we can make to help our kids. Okay. The first, respond more supportively to the anxious child. And the second, reduce the accommodations they've been making. So sometimes what this looks like is that if your child is anxious about whatever it is, meeting new friends or something that they're going to do, we want to take it away from them, and we want to say, you don't have to do that. Okay. We see that it's too much for you, so let me pull back. So this research is actually saying we want to push them a little bit to do it. We want them to develop a little bit of grit and a little bit of resilience, right? Never saying to push them into something like if you take them to a field trip and you just want them to jump in there and make tons of friends, it would be wonderful, but we do have to ease them into it. Okay. So those are just two factors to remember. Okay, I wanted to watch this and then we'll talk on the other side.
The numbers of kids and adolescents struggling with anxiety, depression, and other mental health conditions have been steadily on the rise. Behavioral therapy, which teaches coping skills and medication, may help this, but for some kids, there's still little relief. Now, researchers are studying a new method that helps parents help their children.
Bedtime for some families can become a struggle. But when the good night routine for Nicole Murphy's son began to stretch for up to 3 hours, she knew she needed help with his separation anxiety.
His little mind was always racing nonstop, so it was kind of hard for him to shut that off, I think.
Elie Leibowitz and his colleagues at the Yale Child Study Center developed a method of training parents to support anxious children. It's called SPACE, or Supportive Parenting for Anxious Childhood Emotions. Parents go through training to help their child face anxiety. Leibowitz says the first step is to show support and not downplay what their child is feeling.
I get it. This is really hard, but I know you can handle it.
Leibowitz says parents also learn to help their child by not accommodating them. For example, a parent who would limit visitors for a child who gets anxious around strangers or speaks for a child who gets nervous speaking learns not to take those steps. In a study of 124 kids and their parents, the Yale researchers examined whether the space intervention was effective in treating children's anxiety.
Even though the children never met directly with the therapist and all the work was done through the parents, we found that space was just as effective as CBT in treating childhood anxiety disorders.
The Murphys used the techniques learned through space to coach their son through bedtime. Within a few weeks, he was falling asleep in 30 minutes.
It was, for us, it was like life-changing, honestly.
To see a list of providers, including several here in the Houston area, we have a link on our website. Just head to Click to Houston.
Thank you.
The numbers of kids and adolescents.
I wanted to mention that is just with the space method, as you'll see in a minute, there's only really two things to focus on. Yes, there's tons of training and we have the links for you there about it, but really it's to stay warm and connected, because sometimes it's often easy to say, they're anxious and I'm frustrated and I have a million things to do. Please just get it together. Let's go. I'm guilty of that myself, where it's like, come on, kiddo. Like, I need you to get this together, right? And actually these apps have free, I'll talk about that in a second, but they do have free options. If you have Kaiser, the Calm app is free through your health insurance. So if you reach out to them, you can get that for free for the whole year. The Breathe app has wonderful free options on there, but they also I think have something where you pay $9 a month if you want to have access to everything. So this is something that I've used and that I've seen other students use, you guys. The Calm app is wonderful because it shows kids, you can put it on and have them use your phone and headphones, and they breathe. They just breathe, they relax, they calm down. There's also sleep stories, which are great. My sister is a therapist and she uses it as well as I do with our kids. If there's a little sleep story to kind of lull them into like a better place. Of course, they don't work all the time, but I just did want to bring your attention to the fact that these exist. Okay. And finally, I just wanted to say at the top in blue there that your unwavering love and support are the key. It is so hard as a parent to see your child struggling, your scholar struggling with that. So to remind yourself that you are doing enough, you are doing so much. And it's just, if you keep yourself in a calmer, supportive place toward yourself and model that self-love and acceptance and understanding, then you are going to be able to radiate that for your kiddos. Okay. So we will have a chance. And just so you know, here's my contact information. So I'm a supervising teacher on the options side of our school, which is, if you need anything though, here's my phone number, my email. I am always open to having any kind of discussion that you might need if you want to talk more. And we were going to open it up to any questions or comments that you had now at this point. And I really thank you for being here today.